This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, June 10th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Biden has arrived in the United Kingdom for his first foreign trip, telling U.S. troops at an airbase that he plans to reinforce alliances with the world's leading democracies before meeting next week with Russian President Vladimir Putin. White House reporter Tom Howe, National Security Team leader Guy Taylor, and Deputy Political Editor Dave Boyer report Biden arrived at Royal Air Force Mildenhall, the only permanent American refueling wing in Europe, as the first stop on his week-long trip. Biden said his talks with allies and meeting with the Group of Seven industrial nations, NATO, and the European Union are important preludes to his summit next week in Geneva with Putin.
The United States is back, and democracies of the world are standing together to tackle the toughest challenges and the issues that matter most to our future. That we're committed to leading with strength, defending our values, and delivering for our people.
Biden is seeking to revamp transatlantic ties, forge a vaccine strategy against the COVID-19 pandemic, and unite the world's most economically advanced democracies to fight Russian and Chinese provocations during the trip. Keystone XL Pipeline developer TC Energy has decided to pull the plug on its pipeline project, citing President Biden's decision to rescind its cross-border permit. Valerie Richardson reports TC Energy said it's abandoning the 1,700-mile extension, which would have carried crude oil from the Canadian province of Alberta to Nebraska, after a comprehensive review of its options and consultation with its partner, the Alberta government. The move brings the 13-year battle over the major infrastructure project to an end. Supporters said the pipeline project would have brought millions of dollars in economic activity and thousands of direct and indirect jobs to the Midwest. They also say it would have increased the nation's energy independence and provided an environmentally preferable alternative to transporting oil by rail or truck. The Department of Education has received over 35,000 comments about its plan to encourage schools to teach a race-based view of American history that opponents say is inaccurate and divisive. Carrie Murakami reports the Biden administration invited input last month on proposed grants to K-12 schools that focus on slavery and racism as the defining characteristic of the American experience. The 35,000 comments represent a large reaction, but the department received a greater volume of responses from a 2018 Trump administration proposal to raise the bar of proof for sexual assault complaints on college campuses. Most of the 124,000 comments then expressed opposition to the idea, but the rule was finalized anyway. A reminder that you can find all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. Don't have access to the Times yet? Visit WashingtonTimes.com/George and get 25% off your annual subscription. Metro reporter Emily Zanto takes a look at police budgeting efforts among local jurisdictions in the D.C. area. In the district, Mayor Muriel Bowser wants to cut $36 million from the police budget, but to the north in Baltimore, Mayor Brandon Scott wants to increase law enforcement spending by $28 million. Montgomery County, Maryland has approved a $283 million police budget for the next fiscal year. That's an increase of approximately 1% from last year. A spokesperson for the Montgomery County Police Department told Emily the agency was not defunded or negatively impacted for this budget year. The budget added 6 positions for mental health workers instead of police to join mobile teams that respond to certain 911 calls. The district and Baltimore will begin similar initiatives this month. And finally, Justice Department correspondent Jeff Murdoch goes inside the FBI and some of the Bureau's recent troubles. The FBI's image has been shattered in the past few years by accusations of political bias. Now, as the Bureau tries to shake off the political taint, it finds itself dealing with questions of competency. Lawmakers on the House Judiciary Committee are expected to question FBI Director Christopher Wray in a hearing about how the FBI missed warning signs ahead of the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, and about a subpoena seeking to identify readers of a USA Today news story about a Florida shooting. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and subscribe for free to the front page. Just search Washington Times on your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook, as well as Instagram for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.